You can kind of smell it in the air.
An attempt to steal fuel leads to hundreds of gallons of diesel leaking into Bear Creek.
We have booms down there to try to stop as much of that diesel from flowing out as possible.
Tonight, we're asking experts about the environmental concerns as crews clean up the mess.
Wedding bells are ringing again, but brides are having trouble finding that perfect dress.
It definitely does add more stress to an already stressful situation.
What's behind a wedding dress shortage as couples race to the altar?
Plus, reaching the top.
Here we go, getting ready for 14er number 58.
Meet the Colorado woman who is not letting MS stop her from summiting new heights.
It's pretty surreal when you have that first moment of touching the ground and realizing that you actually can't feel your foot touching the ground.
We begin tonight with hundreds of gallons of fuel leaking into Bear Creek in Lakewood.
Now, police say it began this morning when somebody tried to steal diesel from a parked semi-truck.
Denver 7 CB Cotton talked with experts about the environmental concerns as crews rush to clean up the mess.
Monday afternoon, the ripple effect has gone far beyond the water. It's now in the community as people try to figure out what happened here.
You can kind of smell it in the air. It kind of smells like diesel over here.
Lakewood police say someone drilled a hole into the fuel tank of a semi, causing around 200 gallons of diesel fuel to spill near Bear Creek.
Especially with the gas prices and people trying to steal gas too, that's pretty saddening.
The diesel fuel spilled into a gutter. From there, it made its way to this storm drain, which feeds into here, a canal of Bear Creek.
So about 6:45 this morning, we received a call of the driver of the truck behind us. The driver had come out guessing for work and had realized not only was there a very strong diesel smell in the air, but that someone had drilled a hole in one of his tanks. There is an investigation into this right now. Obviously, we have a theft, we have a possible criminal mischief. There's also maybe some environmental laws that we're looking into.
Police say they've alerted Denver Water and the EPA, but right now, no threats to people have been identified. And for those of you who were wondering, this Bear Creek is about 2 miles east and completely separate from Bear Creek Lake Park, so your summer fun isn't impacted. But Lakewood police say every part of our ecosystem is important. Now, efforts to keep the diesel fuel from spreading are underway.
So as you can see below us, we have booms that are lining the waterway. Those booms are designed to mitigate and pull up some of that diesel that's spilled.
And officers want to track down who caused this ripple effect.
So unfortunately, the time frame that we have where this crime may have occurred is sometime between midnight and 6 a.m. this morning. So we're asking people if they saw anything, if they heard anything, to please call us, to please let us know.
In Lakewood, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
And Colorado Parks and Wildlife say they've inspected the spill, and right now there appears to be no harm to the ducks or fish.
New at 10, the Superior Board of Trustees has approved an emergency ordinance creating deadlines for debris removal following the Marshall Fire. It calls for impacted homeowners to submit for a debris removal permit by Friday. Under the emergency ordinance, the debris must be moved by the end of August, and homeowners can ask for a 45-day extension to complete the removal if they can show cause.
As Colorado sees a rise in vehicle thefts, one city is hoping to curb the crime with mandatory jail time. Tonight, Aurora City Council passed a new ordinance creating a mandatory minimum 60-day sentence for people convicted of stealing cars in that city. Repeat offenders are looking at 120 days in jail. The new ordinance will go into effect next month. Now, the councilman who wrote the ordinance told us last month a car theft conviction currently only brings probation. Well, stormy conditions have ended today's search for a missing hiker in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains in southern Colorado. Authorities say Luis Corcoran of Texas, last known to have summited Kit Carson Peak Saturday afternoon. He planned to descend using the Challenger Peak Summit, but he never made it back to his car. Crews will resume the search tomorrow.
The Biden administration says all hospitals must provide abortion services if the mother's life is at risk, and that includes hospitals in states that could ban abortions without exceptions. The Department of Health and Human Services says abortion is protected under the Federal Emergency Treatment and Labor Act, no matter state law, and that hospitals must provide abortions if a pregnant woman is facing an emergency condition. That includes ectopic pregnancy, complications of pregnancy loss, or hypertensive disorders like preeclampsia. Restrictive laws passed in recent weeks have created some confusion over whether doctors can perform the procedure. So far, no state has banned abortion, even if the mother's life is at risk.
Police in Southern California investigating a series of deadly shootings at multiple 7-Eleven stores, and this comes on the date 7/11. July 11th, when the chain celebrates its birthday, giving out free Slurpees. Police say 2 people were killed, 3 others wounded in these 4 early morning shootings. Investigators believe 3 of the shootings are linked to the same gunman, who is still at large at this hour. They did not reveal what prompted the shootings or if there's any connection to today's date.
Hearings over the January 6th insurrection will resume tomorrow at the U.S. Capitol. The House Select Committee is expected to focus on radical extremism and the violent mob that stormed the Capitol as Congress certified the 2020 presidential election. Expected to testify tomorrow, a former spokesperson for the Oath Keepers, a far-right militia group that participated in the attack. Lawmakers are also expected to hear from Stephen Ayers, an Ohio man who recently pleaded guilty to entering the Capitol. In the days before the insurrection, Ayers on Facebook highlighted President Trump's call for supporters to come to Washington on January 6th. Now, tomorrow's hearing is scheduled to begin at 11 a.m., and you will be able to watch the hearing right here on Denver 7.
Well, wedding bells are ringing once again after so many couples were forced to postpone because of COVID.
Going in depth now, according to the Wedding Report, a national trade group, nearly 2.5 million weddings are expected to be performed in the U.S. this year, and that is up 30% from last year. And as couples plan for their weddings, they are learning one very important item is in short supply.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon explains.
How do you pick when there are so many choices and you have to find the dress?
This is a memory moment.
Patty Westenbrook is there to help brides navigate all of it.
Do you want something fitted or do you want something flowy?
A job that's more of a passion.
Always, never dull.
In a world where the pandemic threw all plans out the window.
We had lots of dresses coming in. Obviously, brides not coming in.
Countless couples postponing their big day until boom.
Upon reopening, we saw quite an influx in those running literally to the altar. And we saw a great demand in gowns.
But the wedding industry, like so many others right now, is dealing with a shortage of some materials, higher costs for shipping, and even some shipping delays.
Unfortunately, we've had to raise prices to match inflation, and that's just been a factor out of our control.
And with an estimated 80% of all dresses in the country coming from China, making sure the dress can get to the bride in time for the aisle is one of the biggest boxes to check.
What a bride may come in hoping for, sometimes we're able to get that for her, other times we're just not.
It definitely does add more stress to an already stressful situation, and it does make me rethink my plan.
Tina Caparoso is engaged to our very own Danny New.
I do have a dress in mind. Whether or not it works out, we'll see.
Planning a wedding, in one word, is overwhelming.
I think it's like a good nervous. It's like you want everything to go as planned, but no, it can't always go like that.
The biggest advice from those who know the dress is best.
Worry about some of the other details later.
Don't save the dress for last. Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
And one of the biggest online shopping days of the year is finally upon us. Amazon Prime Day starts tomorrow at 3 a.m. and will end 48 hours later. And discounts will be offered on items like electronics and home goods and toys. And some of the best deals we found were on TVs, just $50 for a 32-inch Fire TV, $100 for a 50-inch. Last year's event was the largest two-day sales period for third-party sellers in Amazon's history. Now, other retailers like Target and Best Buy, they are also offering deals over the next couple of days.
Lovely 70s and 80s today, but the 90s are not far away, and they'll get back here in a hurry.
Hours on the tarmac.
We were literally trapped.
What a Colorado woman says her family and others endured after their flight was diverted from DIA to Cheyenne.
Plus, a very busy day for the Avs front office. Lionel's breaking down the changes and signings for the reigning champs.
Plus, NASA gives us our clearest picture ever of the final frontier.